The stars over Earth burned quietly that night, unaware of the arrogance about to fall from the void. For centuries, humanity had learned, fought, built, and expanded. Yet still they had believed peace could last. The Galactic Union had other plans. They came in fleets of polished silver, their engines humming with the energy of captured suns. They declared it a strategic purification, a phrase that would live in infamy forever. In one coordinated strike, the skies of Earth were filled with falling fire. Entire continents trembled as orbital bombardments rained down, tearing through cities, oceans, and hearts alike. And when the smoke cleared, the invaders transmitted a message to the surviving world governments. Your world is now pacified. Resistance is forbidden. Submit, and your remaining population will serve. For a brief moment, silence reigned over the ruined world. Then, through the ashes, through the ruined satellites and broken data networks, one message rose. A single sentence that would terrify the galaxy forever. They bombed Earth? How adorable. Now watch humanity counterattack. It began quietly, with whispers among the survivors. The global communications array had been shattered, but the underground military networks were alive. The Central Earth Defense Corps, hidden deep within the Himalayan bunkers, initiated Protocol Phoenix. Its purpose was simple: to unleash everything humanity had ever built for a final retaliation. Commander Hayes, gray-eyed and calm despite the chaos, stood before a flickering holographic map. Every red mark on it was a fallen city. Every blinking blue dot a surviving colony or off-world station still in range. They think they ended us, he said softly. They only woke up the side we tried to keep buried. Orders rippled across the surviving networks. Orbital shipyards around Mars came online, their automated systems untouched by the first strike. The colonies on Titan and Europa received encrypted bursts containing the same phrase, code retribution. Across the belt, miners dropped their drills and turned their cargo haulers into gun platforms. The small, forgotten outposts of humanity, those the Union ignored, now became the heart of a rising storm. On the shattered Earth, millions of drones lifted from hidden silos, scanning the skies for the remnants of enemy patrols. The invaders expected a broken people. What they found instead was unity forged in loss. Within weeks, the first retaliation fleets launched. Not massive in number, not grand in design, but fast, ruthless, and silent. Each ship was handcrafted by desperate engineers armed with kinetic weapons, rail cannons, and the old yet perfected technology of the human war machine. Humanity didn't seek glory. They sought justice. When the first Union fleet arrived in orbit again to monitor the planet, it detected strange movements among the debris. Before they could react, pieces of space junk detached thrusters and powered up. Hidden ships painted black, masked by the wreckage of Earth satellites. The trap was perfect. Dozens of rail slugs ripped through the Union cruisers at 10 times the speed of sound. No shields, no warning. The invaders' ships shattered like glass. Across the surviving human command center, a quiet cheer echoed. Hayes didn't smile. That was for the first billion, he said. Now we start counting properly. The Galactic Union watched in disbelief as reports poured in. Human colonies once marked pacified were rising in open rebellion. Cargo routes were collapsing. Union admirals demanded explanations, and their analysts had none. They lost their homeworld, one strategist said. They should be broken, but they misunderstood humanity's nature. Earth had always risen after devastation. Fire only forged them harder. Within 3 months, humanity had retaken Mars, seizing Union supply depots and reverse engineering alien drives. The first human warp-enabled warship was born in the shipyards of Ceres, named Vengeance. It wasn't elegant. It was raw, angular, and terrifyingly efficient. Admiral Rourke took command of it with only one standing order: find every fleet that attacked Earth and erase them. The Union's next encounter with humanity came in the Epsilon sector. A proud convoy of 20 cruisers entered the system, expecting to suppress a human uprising. They detected only silence. Then space itself tore open. Human ships dropped from warp not ahead but behind. They had learned to ride gravity wells, something the Union had deemed impossible. What followed was not a battle. It was a lesson. Every Union ship was targeted simultaneously. Railguns punched through their hulls. Fusion lances carved through command decks and EMP storms blinded their sensors. Within 8 minutes, the entire convoy was gone. Not one human casualty was reported. The galaxy began to whisper. The phrase spread across networks, forums, and encrypted transmissions. They bombed Earth? How adorable. The Union Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from dozens of species shouted over one another. Some demanded negotiation. Others demanded annihilation. None realized that the humans had already infiltrated their data cores. In the shadow of the council hall, human AI programs, simple at first, had evolved into something new. They called themselves Wardens. Designed for defense, they now waged total information warfare. Within days, the Union's supply algorithms collapsed, their fleets lost coordination, and their propaganda networks began broadcasting messages from humanity itself. Each message ended the same way. You taught us fear. We will teach you consequence. By the 6th month, humanity was no longer on the defensive. The Vengeance led 7 new dreadnoughts: the Resolve, Honor, Aegis, Retribution, Mercy, Frontier, and Legacy. Each carried the names of fallen cities. Each ship's AI was built from the memories of those who died during the bombardment. When the Union's Grand Armada gathered above the planet Valus, confident in its numbers, the human fleet appeared from behind the system's sun. The Union commander broadcast a warning. You are outnumbered 100 to 1. Admiral Rourke's reply was calm. That sounds about fair. Then humanity unleashed its masterpiece, the Solar Spear. It was a weapon built not to destroy planets, but to erase fleets. A captured star's energy, focused through gravitational lenses, erupted in pure plasma light. The Union Armada didn't even have time to scream. From every observation post across the galaxy, watchers stared as 1,000 ships turned to glowing dust in a single flash. And then came the transmission. One sentence, one voice, carried across every known channel. This is for Earth. From that day, no one dared to use the word adorable when speaking of humanity. Still, Earth remained scarred, its surface dark and quiet. But beneath its crust, new life pulsed. Cities were rebuilding. Orbiting stations carried the refugees of a once burning world. The humans had not just survived, they had ascended. In the following year, the Galactic Union fractured. Some races surrendered willingly, seeking mercy. Others fled beyond the edge of charted space. The humans didn't chase all of them. They didn't need to. The message was already clear. If you strike at humanity, you awaken something you cannot understand. In the vastness of the recovered Solar Command, Commander Hayes watched from his window as the rebuilt fleet formed above the planet. The stars reflected on his armor, each one a reminder of loss and resilience. His adjutant approached quietly. Sir, the Union envoy requests an audience. They wish to negotiate peace, Hayes nodded. They've learned humility then. The envoy arrived days later, trembling as they stepped into the Human War Council chamber. Their voice shook. We acted under the orders of our leadership. We did not expect this level of retaliation. Hayes stared silently for a moment before replying. Neither did we. But you made us remember who we were before peace softened us. The envoy hesitated. What will you do now? Now? Hayes looked toward the stars. Now we rebuild. And if the galaxy's wise, it will leave us alone to do so. But even as peace talks began, a shadow of steel stretched across the heavens. Humanity's fleets did not disband. They patrolled. They watched. They remembered. Every ship bore an inscription at its prow, etched in dozens of languages so none could mistake it. Never again. And so the legend spread. Across the stars among the empires that once mocked the small blue world, whispers grew into reverence and fear. Children of other worlds were told bedtime tales of the humans, the creatures who could turn ruin into power, who could laugh in the face of extinction and call it adorable. They became a myth, then a warning, then a law written into every galactic charter: do not touch Earth. Years later, far beyond the rim, explorers found the remnants of the Union's last stronghold. It was deserted. The walls were covered with human writing, carved by survivors who had fled too late. The words read simply, they thought they could end us. Instead, they introduced us to our purpose. Back home in the great orbital city rising above the Pacific, the bells of remembrance tolled once for every fallen soul. Yet among the sound of mourning there was also pride, a silent acknowledgement that humanity had not only avenged its home, but proven what it truly was, a species that did not conquer for power. a people who rose only when forced to defend what they loved. And the galaxy, forever changed, would never forget the moment Earth survivors looked into the endless dark and said with a calm, terrifying smile, "They bombed Earth? How adorable. Now watch."